Today I'll be demonstrating how to make these beautiful hand warmers. You need some wool. I'm going to use my hand-dyed merino. This is very fine merino because I just want it to be very soft when you finish making. I dyed it myself, but the white wool I bought it from the DHG in Italy. You can check their website if you want. I've got some 3 different colors of silk fibers. Oh, I love silk because it's so soft. So this is what we're going to use as the embellishment to just to bring out some color out. It's the springtime, so I decided to look for spring colors. You will need a bit of the wool nubs. They're just little nubs. They are really accessories, so if you don't have them, you don't have them. You don't have to use them. And sometimes I use some little threads. I may use them, I may not use them, but they're just handy to have. And again, you need some water with soap. I have put a bar of olive soap in there. Now it's actually time to take them out. And I've got a bow browser to use. I've got my template I've made from the underlayment mat. It's actually, if you don't have this, you can use a bubble wrap. And again, if you don't have a bubble wrap, you can find an old bed sheet, 100% cotton that won't felt, and use it to use inside as a template. But I have this, that's what I'm going to use. You need a kind of a rolling pin to roll with when the felting starts. And you will need a measuring tape measure, just to take your measurements of your wrist. Actually, I do take the measurements in the middle of my wrist. There I do. Mine was 20 centimeters. So what I did was to create a template of 20 centimeters. By the length I'm looking for, I wanted a 20 centimeters length, but I've added like 4 centimeters extra to make it longer. But what I've done with the width, because I took the whole, I took the measurements of my all wrist and made it 20 centimeters. So I've doubled my measurements. So I've got time to shrink. Wool needs to shrink a lot. I'm not going to use a Nuno felting technique. I'm just using wool and silk, water and soap. So you don't have to be having silk fabrics, which usually I like to do. You just need to do the wool. So let's get on. I'm going to show you how to do this. So what do I start with? I've got 2 pieces, 1 for each hand. So how do I go? I'm doing it outside, so I'm gonna have a lot of shadows in between my work. I'm so sorry about that, but I hope you can see what I'm doing. So I'll start with 1, and then after I finish making 1, I'm going to make the second one. But it has to be exactly the same. So it's nice to keep an eye on some of the things so you can do them exactly the same. So what I'll do, I'm going to create a kind of a little flower on my template. So I'm just going to pick up, I'm going to put my water in front of me so I can access it easily. So I've put my water on this side. I'm just going to do my yarn. It's a knitting yarn you can have as long as you have something that's 100%. Look, I've just made it wet, and I'm going to draw with it on my template. Just to let you know, this side I'm working on is going to be my outside. So that's why I'm just going to create something like a draw with this one, anything that I like. But in this case, I'm not really thinking of anything. I'm just automatically making the swirls, which I always love to make. I love making swirls during my felting. And to get this color to be, so you can come and see it afterwards, I hope you can see it. This is what I've now made. I'm just gonna pick up some of this wool and put it inside. So I'm just gonna create a lot of fluff from it. Just fluff this out, and I'm just gonna stuff them in. I may make my hands a bit wet so they can stay with me, and they'll stay inside where I want them to be. These are my embellishments. So I'll just embellish quickly with some yellow. Let's start with yellow again. Just play around with it. Make it a bit wet so it can stay where you want it to be. The water is always amazing to keep things in place. So I'm gonna do the same with this, but I'm leaving some gaps because in those gaps I want to use another type of color. So just trying to fill it all up. So it's almost like a painting, because once you finish, you should be able to see this very clearly. That is deciding on the wool, the color. I may have to use this one, the pink. I think the pink is interesting. I'm just gonna use, so I'm going to split my wool in two. Hope you can see me. And then I'm just going to lay the wool, starting with on the other side. My hands are getting wet. Oh, wool with wet hands doesn't really go together. So the best is always have a towel next to you to dry it. There we go. Just gonna put that one here. So I'm going to mix my pink. Just two little pieces. You don't need to have so much in your hands. And then just put the two together. Just like to have a bit of the dark inside the pink. So it has got a kind of depth to a color. I'm just going to fill it all up. Remember, I'm overlapping it, but I'm also picking very fine. I don't want it to be too thick. What I like about wool, I really can't tell how these will turn out, but that's what makes the wool such a magical thing to use, because things can just turn out really not the way you expect them to be. It's always a discovery. So I'm going to do another layer. This time I'm going to go perpendicular to the first one. So I'm going to make two layers. Oh, my pink is gone. Maybe I'll just use the dark one on the top. So to make it really even stronger, since I'm not using the silk fabrics, I'm just going to put another layer. So I finished, and I finish this one, and I'm sure I don't have a lot of holes. I've got a lot of overlapping on the edge. You can see there's a lot, and I'm just going to make it a bit wet. I have a bit of viscose here. This is the black viscose. Sometimes if you have it, it's a good thing to put one thin layer on the back, because that will give it the stability, because viscose can be quite strong. So I'm just putting a layer here. This will pretend to be like my fabrics, but it's not. It just gives this the backing of the inside of your fabric handband a bit stronger. So you don't really need it, but it's just I like to put something with it. So there we are. And after I finish with that, I'm just going to wrap over my felt. I have two pieces of, and I'm just going to wrap it for about 5 minutes. Should start felting, and then turn it over like that, and you come to this side. On this side, I'm going to create something different again, but this time I am just going to use the threads, without adding anything to it, making them warm, because this will be just underneath, or you can use it wherever you want. Again, I'm creating something that looks like a corals. I love this kind of shapes. I don't even know why I like them so much. Very thin layer of silk, white silk. I'm giving you some ideas that, although this is gonna look different from one side to another, sometimes it's fun, but it's just to get more ideas of what you can do with the embellishing your armband. Doesn't have to be one or the other. So these ones I showed you, the silk, they don't felt by themselves easily. That's why I put a bit of the silk fibers on the back so that it can hang on to that one. And then I'm going to bring whatever I had on this side back to this bit. You know, the overlap is now there. I'm not closing the top ends, but maybe to get it really nice and neat, you can close it in, all of it, so you can come and cut it off afterwards. Although usually I prefer to leave it open. There we go. And now I'm going to do exactly the same as I did on the first side. Pick up the brown colors and pick up the pink colors. Oh. When you dye your own wool, it turns out to be. There we go. I'm going to do, again, I started on the horizontal layer the first time. I'm going to do exactly the same. Again, I'm just pulling very tiny wool. And then I'm going to go horizontal. I'm overlapping them by almost halfway of it so we don't get holes or gaps in them. Now I'm going to do another one. This time I should have taken that one away, but I didn't. So I'm just going to use this. I never like to do the felting while seated, but. And again, I'm going to wet it again. Kind of press the water out. And then I'm going to put my viscose on them. Hands are wet. Now I'm going to turn it around, make it nice and neat. It's like a little package. Again, just turn over. And then I'm going to put my thing and rub it in. keep rubbing. When it gets dry, you just put a little extra water on it. This is the fun the children really would like to do, because it's the nicest part when they can just play in the soap again. And the next thing you have to do is just make sure while you're rubbing, when it starts to get stronger, you can feel it. It's really getting stronger, so you have to pay attention to the edges so you don't get this one felting together. So just make sure you rub that, because if you don't do it, you're going to have an edge you don't really want to have, because this should become a circle in the end. So just pull it in between the templates. You should be able to get it by pulling it just like that, and then turn this one over and rub it in, so you get a nice edge as well, because otherwise you may get something like this. But the best is just rub it in before it goes too far. And then after that, you just take this one out, and then you put it in here. Take your rolling pin and you're going to roll. Because my little mat is longer than I'm just going to roll this one, fold it over, and then it's nice to make small projects because they don't need a lot of space. They don't need big rolling pins. You just need a small one. And I'll continue rolling, and I'll roll this for up to 100. You can see it's pulling. That means it's felting pretty fast. And then I'll repeat on the four corners. Take it out, and then you can see that it's really changing color, and then you can see that it's also folding here because it's just starting to felt. You can see the fold. This just tells you you're doing a great job. So let's just do another more. I'm just gonna make it wet again with some water without soap in it, just a bit warm water. It's going good. I'm just gonna roll this one up again. Just rolling in the mat, and after I roll my red tea towel around it, I'm going to do another 100. When I look at this, I'm going to open it again. I'm getting excited because I know it's getting stronger. There we go. Look, it's really smaller and it has really felted. So what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to pick up my scissors and I'm going to trim the ends. These ends are my openings, so I'll just trim it open there, and I'll do the same on this side. There we go. And then I'll open it there. I'll open that side as well, and I'll pull out my resist. And I'm also curious to see if my sides, look, the sides are still, they don't have a seam. If they do, I'm just gonna rub it out. Make sure it's all nice and flat. I'm glad. That's the goodness of using something slightly thicker. It keeps it from getting the folds in it. We're nearly there. This is the time when the pre-felting has been done. The fabric has been felted, but it's just not strong. Look at that. There we don't have the white, and here we have some bit of white on it. So now I'm going to felt it until it fits around my wrist. It shouldn't take too long. Again, I'm just going to pick up my warm water. It's not too hot, but it's hot enough to keep my work warm. I didn't use some soap. I'm just going to use my olive soap a bit in my hands. Goodness, felting. You use a lot of soap water. Actually, it keeps us clean, away from the virus. There we go. So now I have it. I'm just going to roll it again without the resist, only with the stick, and I'm just going to roll for 20 minutes. Count. 20, then 20. I'm gonna take it out. I'm going to do another 20. To get the inside felted a bit more. Stay it by yourself. I'm going to do this side again, 20. So I've done 4 times on the 4 sides. There we go. Look at that. Just make sure you can see that it's getting there. So now I'm just going to felt it together. This is the fooling, and this is the fooling now. This is what is going to make it felt. This is what is going to make it small. So now we have to force the wool to felt together. Let's take this one away. This also doesn't work. It's nice to do it now just on the towel. The towel provides a bit of friction to the wool, and it makes the felt go fast. You can just relax. Just it's nice. I love this stage because then I know things are getting felted. You can see it's getting almost fitting my arm. Keep going. At this stage I can make, oh, it's beautiful. It's getting really nice. Look at that. Turn it inside out. Oh, look at how beautiful they are. That viscose just creates that beautiful color. This stage doesn't really take so long. That's what I like about it. Oh, butterfly. It's nice to be outside. Look at that. Yeah, little butterfly. Look at that. I think I may be there. Look how small that has become. The inside is just as beautiful as the outside. Look at this, is my good side, which is absolutely gorgeous. Amazing, isn't it? There we go. And your armband is done. But before, I'm just gonna get some soap out again. Just using again the soap water, my little and then I'm going to see if it will fit my hand. So you can imagine when this dries, all the silk will be shining. Look, it just fits. Perfect. Handband is ready. Now I'm just gonna rinse it in warm water with a bit of vinegar to take out all the soap. And happy Easter, stay inside, be safe. Love you.
Juist nu, Pegamento. Innovatie in klantcontact.